Very good morning. You're watching the Breakfast News on Rajya Sabha television, your one-stop morning show for the stories that you might have missed during the night and also the big news stories that will unfold in the course of the day today. My name is Aishwarya Kapoor and here are the headlines. Rajya Sabha Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu meets government and opposition leaders in attempt to end the deadlock in the upper house. He suggests further discussion, says stalemate not good for the country. Strong India-China relationship important for the region and the world, says Prime Minister Modi. Meets a visiting Chinese councillor Yang Jiechi. India and China decide to increase the frequency of talks after first high-level meet following Doklam standoff. Vijay Rupani to continue as Gujarat Chief Minister and Nitin Patel as his deputy. Deliberations on next Chief Minister of Himachal Pradesh on in the BJP. Congress President Rahul Gandhi in Gujarat for poll result review today. United Nations imposes tough new sanctions on North Korea, hitting its oil supplies. Exports of refined petroleum products to the country cut by nearly 90%. Sanctions following last month's ballistic missile test. And India win T20 series against Sri Lanka, beat visitors by 88 runs in the second match at Indore, take unassailable 2-0 lead in the three-match series. First up, news on Parliament. Rajya Sabha Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu on Friday stepped up efforts to end the deadlock between the government and the Congress party over Prime Minister Narendra Modi's remarks against his predecessor Manmohan Singh. Now, according to sources in Parliament, Chairman Naidu met the leader of the opposition in the Rajya Sabha, Ghulam Nabi Azad, Congress Deputy Leader in the House Anand Sharma, and Minister of State for Parliamentary Affairs Vijay Goyal in his chamber. He also met them separately. Chairman Naidu is understood to have emphasized that the House needs to resume normal functioning from Wednesday. He also suggested that Leader of the House, Arun Jaitley, and Ghulam Nabi Azad could further discuss and resolve the stalemate in the House. And earlier, Rajya Sabha was adjourned on Friday till 27th of December after Congress members stalled the proceedings of the House. The party stressed that the impasse over the alleged remarks by Prime Minister Narendra Modi against his predecessor Manmohan Singh should be resolved first.
Proceedings in the upper house were paralysed for the third day in a row on Friday. Leader of opposition Ghulam Nabi Azad said the panel formed at the chairman's behest must reach an accord first to break the deadlock. Deputy Leader of Congress Anand Sharma also insisted that the House should be adjourned without disruption.
आपने एक कमेटी बनाई थी इस गतिरोध को खत्म करने के लिए, उसकी एक ही मीटिंग हुई है और बातचीत चल रही है। आज इस वीक का आखिरी दिन है और ज़्यादा बिजनेस भी नहीं है। मैं आपसे अनुरोध करूंगा जब तक आज ये गतिरोध खत्म नहीं होता है हाउस को स्थगित किया जाए और मीटिंग जब होगी उस गतिरोध को ख़त्म करें, शाम तक ख़त्म करें तो फिर आगे हम भी चाहते हैं कि बहुत से ज़्यादा बिल पास हो जाएं, होश चले।
नहीं, मंत्री जी ने जो बोला, हम नहीं चाहते कि सदन में गतिरोध के बाद एडजर्नमेंट हो, इसीलिए एलओपी ने बोला है जब बातचीत हो रही है इस गतिरोध का समाधान निकालना आवश्यक है। विपक्ष चाहता है कि सदन में चर्चा हो, सदन में बिल पास हो, इसलिए समाधान निकल जाएगा। पर अगर एडजर्नमेंट के लिए जब तक आहत है हमारे पूर्व प्रधानमंत्री, पूर्व राष्ट्रपति पर ये बात हमने उठाई, उसका समाधान हम निकाल दें।
Minister of State for Parliamentary Affairs Vijay Goyal suggested that the House should continue to function while a solution is found.
मेरा इसलिए ये कहना है कि आज आपके साथ बैठकर बात हो जाएगी, इसलिए इस सदन के अंदर बाकी लोगों को अपने विषय को उठाने दीजिए। और मैं समझता हूँ मामला ऐसा नहीं है जिसके अंदर की उसका हल नहीं निकाला जा सकता हो।
Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu sought to continue with zero-hour proceedings, but Congress members refused to relent.
हाउस नहीं चले, ये आपका मांग है। नहीं, कितने बजे हो तो मैं तय करूंगा ना।
2 बजे तक कर ले।
ये हर एक व्यक्ति बोल रहे भाई, नेता है, उपनेता है, दोनों केपेबल है। आप लोग बैठ जाइए। Don't doubt your capacity of your leader and deputy leader. Both of them are very experienced parliamentarians. I have confidence in them. They have confidence in me. You have confidence in them. Please, sit down.
Rajya Sabha will now meet on the 27th of December after the weekend and the Christmas break.
I am adjourning the House to meet again on Wednesday, 27th December 2017.
Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu intervened and suggested that both sides resolve the deadlock amicably through internal discussions. In fact, on Tuesday, the Rajya Sabha passed 2 crucial bills, but thereafter, the issue returned to reverberate in the House again. It remains to be seen how a truce is brokered between the two sides so that the winter session becomes a productive one. Reporting from Parliament House with camera person Prashanta, I'm Kriti Mishra for Rajya Sabha Television.
And Rajya Sabha MPs on Friday sought the early implementation of the recommendations of a parliamentary committee on their wages and allowances. Now, backing the demand, Naresh Agarwal of the SP said that given that the 7th Pay Commission report has been implemented, the report on the salaries and wages of members of parliament should also be decided.
Samajwadi Party MP Naresh Agarwal raised the issue of salary hike of MPs in the Rajya Sabha on Friday. Making a point of order, Agarwal cited Article 106 of the Constitution and the implementation of the 7th Pay Commission for central government employees to pitch for a similar pay hike for lawmakers. He also sought the government's response on the issue.
हमारी कमेटी बनी, लोकसभा के स्पीकर ने कमेटी बनाई, बाबा योगी आदित्यनाथ जी उस कमेटी के चेयरमैन थे, उस कमेटी ने रिपोर्ट दी, उन्होंने कहा एमपी की सैलरी बढ़ना चाहिए, ये सजेशन आया कि एमपी की सैलरी रोज ना बढ़ाई जाए, 7th पे कमीशन के साथ जोड़ दी जाए और चीफ कैबिनेट सेक्रेटरी से 1 रुपया ज्यादा कर.
Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu also admitted the importance of the issue and assured the House that he will apprise the government about it.
ये विषय इम्पोर्टेंट विषय है, मैं भी इसको स्वीकार करता हूं, कारण क्या है, मैं पार्लियामेंट्री अफेयर्स मिनिस्टर के नाते मैंने भी खुद इस विषय के बारे में थोड़ा अध्ययन किया है और मैं एक बार आपका जो भावना है वो मैं हमारा नेता सदन जो वित्त मंत्री भी है उनका ध्यान में लाएंगे और आगे जब उचित मौका आएगा उसके बारे में डिस्कशन भी करेंगे.
The Joint Committee on Salaries and Allowances of Members of Parliament, headed by former BJP MP Yogi Adityanath, sought doubling of salaries of MPs from the existing 50,000 rupees per month, increasing the pension of former MPs from 20,000 rupees to 35,000 rupees, and doubling the daily allowance of members when Parliament is in session from 2,000 to 4,000 rupees. Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
More news from Rajya Sabha. The Select Committee examining the Motor Vehicles Amendment Bill 2017 tabled its report in the Rajya Sabha on Friday. Well, the panel made several observations but recommended enactment of the legislation without any modification. The Motor Vehicles Bill 2017, once voted into law, will bring in sweeping changes in the transportation sector.
After a thorough scrutiny, a select panel of 24 members, chaired by Vinay P. Sahasrabudhe, tabled the report on the Motor Vehicle Act Amendment Bill 2017 in Rajya Sabha on Friday. The bill is intended to make our roads safer and save lives. Opposition parties have given dissent notes saying the bill had failed to save the interest of state governments.
Sir, with your permission, I rise to present the report of the Select Committee on Motor Vehicles Amendment Bill 2017, both in English and in Hindi.
The committee recommended that every traffic policeman enforcing the rules should have body cameras to reduce corruption by enforcement officials. The panel also called upon the centre and state governments to work out the modalities to bring the idea of one nation, one permit and one tax to fruition. The committee also recommended that long-distance buses should invariably have inbuilt toilets. The panel also recommended that the government should explore the possibility of increasing the compensation to the victims of hit-and-run cases. Compared to 2015, accidents in 2016 are lower by 4.1%, but the number of persons killed has increased by 3.2%. 10,135 riders killed in road accidents were not wearing helmets and 5,638 did not fasten their seat belt. Motor Vehicle Act Amendment Bill 2017 is important due to radical changes in the law, which is 30 years old. The minimum fine for drunk driving has been increased from 2,000 rupees to 10,000 rupees. The fine for rash driving has been raised from 1,000 rupees to 5,000 rupees. Driving without a license will attract a minimum fine of 5,000 rupees as against 500 rupees at present. The fine for overspeeding will go up from 400 rupees to between 1,000 and 2,000 rupees. Not wearing a seat belt would attract a fine of 1,000 rupees as against 100 rupees at present. Talking on a mobile phone while driving will attract a fine of 5,000 rupees, up from 1,000 rupees currently.
The centre has asserted that the powers shall remain with the state governments and the provisions of the bill would only make the process hassle-free. Many members feel that the bill would help meet UN's mandate of reducing road accidents up to 50% by year 2022. The bill has already been passed by the Lok Sabha. Reporting from Parliament Complex with camera person DK Pandey, I'm Kriti Mishra for Rajya Sabha Television.
News from the lower house of Parliament in Lok Sabha on Friday discussed the damage caused by cyclone Oki. The opposition MPs demanded that the disaster be declared a national calamity. Meanwhile, during a question hour in Lok Sabha, Finance Minister Arun Jaitley asserted that the government is committed to development in both rural and urban areas.
During question hour, Union Minister for Environment and Forests Dr. Harshvardhan stated in the Lok Sabha that the number of tigers has increased in the country.
The population of tigers is growing in the country, and in almost every tiger reserve, the efforts of the Tiger Conservation Authority are being appreciated at all the international forums.
Replying to a question, Minister of State for Health Anupriya Patel told the House that the budget for the National Health Mission has been raised by 15% this year.
With respect to NHM, there has been an increase of 15.5% over the last year. Then, sir, the new National Health Policy 2017 has come, wherein we have a commitment that we are going to raise our spending on the healthcare sector as a percentage of GDP from the current 1.13% to 2.5% by the year 2025.
Finance Minister Arun Jaitley told the House that the government is committed to the development of infrastructure in both rural and urban areas.
जहां तक ग्रामीण है, उसके संबंध में जो सरकारी योजनाएं जो हैं और जिसके लिए साधन दिए जा रहे हैं, गांव को सड़क से जोड़ना, गांव के अंदर सैनिटेशन का प्रावधान करना, गांव के अंदर पक्के मकानों का प्रयोग की रचना करना और उसके अलावा हर गांव में बिजली पहुंचना.
The Lok Sabha also discussed the damage caused by cyclone Oki in Kerala, Tamil Nadu and Lakshadweep. Home Minister Rajnath Singh said 92 people had died while 490 people are still missing.
Tamil Nadu में 18 डेथ्स हुई हैं और केरल में 74 डेथ्स की रिपोर्ट प्राप्त हुई. तमिलनाडु के 275 फिशरमैन और केरल के 215 फिशरमैन अब भी लापता हैं, यह जानकारी प्राप्त हुई है.
The discussion on Cyclone Oki started under Rule 192 at 12 noon. Many MPs demanded that the cyclone should be declared as a national calamity. Congress and left members, especially from Kerala, which bore the brunt, sought a probe into the alleged mismanagement, lack of coordination and other aspects of the disaster.
We could have taken effective precautions and early warning system. In this regard, I would like to point out some mistake has been done by the officers.
When a conversion takes place relating to a crop loan, when it is affected by calamity, by natural calamity, it is necessary that the crop loan mechanism also should extend to the mid-term loan so that the farmers will not be at a loss.
People went out literally until such time as the cyclone hit. And to my mind, there is something to be looked at in how we allowed this to happen. How could human lives, precious human lives, have been lost because we couldn't get a simple warning right?
The controversy over Prime Minister Modi's remarks against former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh also figured in the Lok Sabha. A few minutes after the 0 hour started at noon, protesting Congress members walked out of the House demanding an apology from the Prime Minister. With inputs from Ravindra Shoran and Panchanan Mishra, Bureau Report for Rajya Sabha TV.
And outside Parliament, Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu expressed displeasure about frequent adjournments during the ongoing winter session. Now speaking at the foundation stone-laying ceremony of the International Exhibition Convention Centre and the Integrated Transit Corridor Development Project at Pragati Maidan in the national capital, Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu said that the House being on and off these days is not good for the country.
Parliament is in session. Whether the House will be on or off, that we don't know. That will be known after some time. Because आजकल on and off हो रहे, which is not a good thing for the country.
And at the event, the Vice President also stressed that development and good governance should be the focus of the government and the public sector. He added that a constant endeavour is to make India the global economic leader by adopting a holistic approach towards inclusive economic growth. He also said that progress must be made to achieve double-digit economic growth at the earliest.
The economy of the world is slowed down. Now, of course, it's picking up. Even our powerful neighbor also has gone a little negative. The only economy which is moving forward, that's India. Thanks to the reforms and thanks to the leadership of the country as well as the contribution made by people in various sectors. So what is required is that we must have a holistic approach for an inclusive growth.
And later in the evening, Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu reached Hyderabad on Friday. He was received by Telangana Governor ESL Narasimhan and Legislative Council Chairman Swami Gaur. The Vice President will be visiting the Shirdi Sai Temple today, and later he is scheduled to attend the second Global Sai Summit at Sai Nagar ground. He will also be attending an event in Mumbai before proceeding to Percy Fire Temple in Ubada on the last day of his 4-day visit. On to some other news, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said that a strong India-China relationship is important not only for the mutual benefit of the people of both the countries, but also for the region and the world. He said this during his meeting with the State Councillor of China, Yang Jiechi, who called on him on Friday evening. Now, during the meeting, Jiechi and National Security Advisor Ajit Doval briefed the Prime Minister on the 20th round of talks between special representatives of China and India on the boundary question, which was held earlier in the day on Friday. And earlier, India and China decided to increase the frequency of their talks on issues of critical importance in a meeting between Indian and Chinese special representatives Ajit Doval and Yang Jiechi. Both the sides decided to step up efforts to evolve consensus on various issues. Both the sides met in Delhi on Friday to discuss contentious issues like the border dispute and differences on terrorism, as well as on a Belt and Road Initiative, especially the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. The pollution in Brahmaputra River was also raised at the meeting. This was the 20th round of special representatives level talks between the two countries. Foreign Secretary S. Jaishankar and a Chinese ambassador to India, Lo Zhahu, also present at this meeting, which was the first such meeting after the Doklam standoff that continued for 73 days and ended on 28th of August after mutual diplomatic consultation. Last week, Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi had held talks with External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj on the sidelines of RIC held in Delhi. The next round of special representative level talks will take place in China in 2018. On to news from the states now. Vijay Rupani will continue as the Chief Minister of Gujarat, with Nitin Patel staying on as the Deputy Chief Minister. The decision was taken at a meeting of newly elected BJP MLAs in the state with its central observers, Arun Jaitley and Saroj Pandey, on Friday. BJP National Secretary Bhupendra Yadav was also present at this meeting.
सर्वसम्मति के साथ श्री विजय भाई रूपानी को नेता चुना गया और श्री नितिन भाई पटेल को उपनेता चुना गया। बैठक में पार्टी के सभी नवनिर्वाचित विधानसभा के सदस्य शामिल थे और सर्वसम्मति के साथ नेता का चयन हुआ।
और गुजरात की जनता को भरोसा देता हूं कि आने वाले 5 साल उनकी आशा, अपेक्षा, सपना उनको हम पूरा करेंगे। आदरणीय नरेंद्र भाई ने जिस तरीके से सबका साथ सबका विकास जो मंत्र दिया है, उन्हीं को लेते हुए हम आगे बढ़ेंगे। गुजरात विकास का रोल मॉडल बने ही रहेगा।
Rupani had resigned along with his Council of Ministers on Thursday, a day after Governor O.P. Kohli dissolved the Legislative Assembly following the recently concluded Assembly polls, paving the way for the formation of a new government. In the results declared on Monday, BJP won 99 seats in the 182-member Assembly, thus retained power in the state. And deliberations on who will be the new Himachal Pradesh Chief Ministers continues in the BJP as the 2-member team of central observers have returned to New Delhi from Shimla. On Friday, Union Ministers and observers of the party for Himachal Pradesh, Narendra Singh Tomar and Nirmala Sitharaman, held a meeting with the core group leaders in Shimla. And according to sources, the central observers will now submit a report regarding the meeting to the party high command. The defeat of the BJP's chief ministerial face, Prem Kumar Dhumal, from his Sujanpur seat threw the leadership race wide open.
की भावना आई है, भावनाओं से राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष जी को हमारे पर्यवेक्षक अवगत कराएंगे और फिर केंद्रीय नेतृत्व से आगे क्या करना है उस संबंध में मार्गदर्शन मिलेगा। कई विधायक जो शिमला आए थे, उन सभी विधायकों को हम लोगों ने शुभेच्छा दिया, उनको बधाई दी और विधायक व्यक्तिगत रूप से भी सब लोगों से बातचीत किए हैं।
News from the Congress's camp and President of the party Rahul Gandhi will be in Gujarat today to attend a review meeting to analyze how his party fared in the recently concluded assembly elections. His Gujarat trip will begin with a visit to the Somnath temple. During his 3-day visit to the state, Rahul Gandhi will meet all the newly elected legislators and the party workers from across the state to review the election results. He will also meet leaders from North, Central and Saurashtra and South Zone during the day before heading to the Gujarat University Convention Hall in Ahmedabad for a party workers' Sammelan. And early on Friday, the Congress Working Committee met and this was the first meeting chaired by newly elected Congress President Rahul Gandhi. Here are the details.
The Congress's highest decision-making body, the Congress Working Committee, met in the national capital on Friday. This was the first meeting of the committee since Rahul Gandhi took over as party president. His predecessor, Sonia Gandhi, was also present at the meeting, along with former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh and senior party leaders like Motilal Vora, Ghulam Nabi Azad, Janardhan Dwivedi and Mallikarjun Kharge.
2G के बारे में सब जानते हैं, सच्चाई आपके सामने आ गई है.
Gandhi also slammed the rival BJP over several issues and alleged that the whole architecture of BJP was based on lies.
एक के बाद एक झूठ, नोटबंदी झूठ, गब्बर सिंह टैक्स झूठ, सच्चाई क्या है?
The Gandhi scion has in the past chaired several CWC meetings in the absence of his mother Sonia Gandhi. He was elected unopposed as Congress president on 11 December and assumed the party's reins on the 16th. Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
On to our top international focus, the United Nations Security Council has voted unanimously to impose tougher sanctions on North Korea in response to its recent ballistic missile tests. China and Russia, North Korea's main trading partners, voted in favor of this resolution. The country is already subject to a draft of resolutions from the US, the UN and the EU. The new set of US drafted sanctions will further strangle North's energy supplies and tighten restrictions on smuggling and the use of North Korean workers overseas. Now, Nikki Haley, the US ambassador to the United Nations, claimed that the new sanctions went even further than the sanctions passed in September that at that time were called the toughest yet. She said that the UN had repeatedly offered Pyongyang a choice and repeatedly in its continued missile tests, the regime had chosen the path of isolation. US President Donald Trump also welcomed the resolution. He tweeted, "The world wanted peace, not death."
Their arrogance and hostility to anything productive has set their country on a destructive path. 9 times before today, we have asked the North Korean regime to choose the path of peace. And if they do, we would welcome them back into the community of nations. But Pyongyang has chosen the path of isolation. As we have in the past, we will continue to match the Kim regime's choice of aggressive actions with actions of international sanction.
And on to sports now, India beat Sri Lanka by 88 runs in the second T20 International to take an unassailable 2-0 lead in the 3-match series in Indore on Friday. Chasing a victory target of 260 runs, Sri Lanka were all out for just 172 runs in 17.2 overs. Kusal Perera made 77 runs, and for India, Yuzvendra Chahal took 4 wickets. Skipper Rohit Sharma reached many landmarks with his contribution of 118 runs. And Rohit Sharma was declared the man of the match. The third T20 match will be played on 24th of December in Mumbai.
This one's gone straight up. Chahal has gone for it.
It's important that you try and play with the field. I want to score all around the park, not just in one area. So for me, it's important that I try and explore the fielding that the opposition keep for me. So yeah, in all formats, I try and do that, because hitting in just one area, you become quite predictable. So it's always important to score runs all over the field, and that is my strength. So I try and stick to it, and I try and play with the field.
Normally in T20s, we have to good start and continue the score and build the pressure to them. Hopefully, we think about 150 plus. It's the main target for us. From selection part and from captain side, I think I have to give more confidence to our young players. So I don't think about they have pressure situation, so they have to give their 100%. I hopefully, personally, I know they are good mindset and they can come very strongly.
And that's all in this edition of Breakfast News. I'll see you on Monday at 8 in the morning. Thanks for watching.